So another day in the barn. Today it's a really gray and wet day. It's been raining all night, but it is a bit warmer, which is quite nice when you're out here working. As you can see, I've been pretty busy working on the temporary frames, and I'm almost done now. So we can have a look at that work I've been doing for the last few days. I've been a lot of long evenings and nights even, trying to get all of these frames ready.
It's funny that something that you will only use for a short while can take so long to make. Because these temporary frames will only be used during the time we build the hull. But they play a super important role in the building process. Because if they aren't correctly shaped and positioned, the whole boat will be affected in a way that's impossible to correct later on.
And now I only have 2 of them left to produce, and they are actually part of the table now, so that's why I haven't produced those. I need to use these 4 sheets of plywood that sits on top of the concrete here on the table. So the plan for today is to release these. I think I'm going to start with these 2, turn them upside down, and cut the largest of the 2 frames first. And I have to say, the speed which I have been able to produce this hasn't been as fast as I first thought, but still pretty good. And the most important thing, the accuracy is really good. They are really perfect shape and perfect in size according to the plans. And that's the most important thing going forward, because this is really the foundation on which the hull is going to be built. And if these are not correct, that's going to affect the whole build going forward from here. So that has been the priority here, getting them to the correct shape and size. And I think I have done that. So the plan for today, produce the last 2, and after that we can start placing them out on the floor, which will be really interesting, because that will be the first time that we will see the hull shape in its full size.
Only 1 frame left now.
Det är det här som ska bli båten, nu kommer färdig.
I think it's so cool to have them here. It actually looks like a little igloo.
Yes, it does.
Or like a cute little like hobbit house or something. Vera is marking all the frames. 22 frames that took several weeks to produce. Johan has done a phenomenal job, working a lot of hours. But it feels so good to have like the first, how do you say, like concrete project done in the boat building process, because this is actually something that we're going to use to build the actual boat on, not like all the other stuff that we've done with the preparations of the barn and the table, the machines and all of that stuff. The next phase now is to tear this table down and clear up this space, because we're going to build a foundation where we're going to mount the temporary frames. And that is called a strong back. And we're super excited to get into the next phase. And we also have some news. We got the best Christmas gift, because the man who is buying all this timber accepted our offer. So we're buying the timber and we're going up there soon to pick it all up and transport it down here to the farm. So we are super, super, super happy. It's not only out here in the barn where there have been happening a lot of things. We've also been working more on the boat design. So after our last virtual reality meeting, we've been working together with our naval architect on some changes and improvements on the design. And we wanted to show you those.
Yeah, one of the things that we saw when looking at the boat through VR was that the cockpit floor needed to come down a bit. And we needed to do that because the back seats here were a bit too low. And also the height between the floor and the seat was also too low. So what we've been doing now is that we have lowered the floor a bit over 100 millimeters and also made the distance between the floor and the sitting area a bit higher. But also that the backrests now are around 60 millimeters taller than they were before. And because of these changes, another added benefit is that we have now a better headroom under the roof that is sticking out here.
From the deck salon.
Yeah.
So these changes will make the sitting area in the cockpit much more comfortable, and will also feel more secure because it's now a little bit deeper. And we have a better headroom. The design is not totally ready yet. As you see, like the corners on the roof will of course not be pointed like that. No. That will be quite dangerous if you would walk into them. They will be rounded, and you know, all those small details will be added.
Another thing that we have changed here in the cockpit is that the seats are now a bit shorter. Because we wanted to push the wheels a bit further forward to make more room on the aft deck here. So now the benches here are around 2,200 millimeters, so still plenty of room, but we will have more space back here, and the feeling of being more secure will be better if we have, when you're standing at the wheel, that you're a bit further away from the stern of the boat.
And the boat looks like a racing boat now. It's like completely open, no lifelines or push pit. That will of course be added as well. We're going to have a solar arch in the aft of the boat. We're going to have solid like bars, rails around the whole boat actually. So it won't be a wire like lifelines. We will have it solid and higher up than there usually is on boats. There will be like to my waist, so that will make it feel more safe and secure. We're yet to add deck hatches, and we've also just temporarily removed the portholes in the hull. We need to replace those, And also maybe we might change the design to round ones. We will test and see.
Or square, or we'll see.
Yeah, we'll test what the thing that looks the best.
Another change that we have done here on the deck on the boat is that the coaming here is going a bit more forward, and we have moved the mast a little bit to the stern of the boat. So now the mast is going through the coaming in a flat area. Before it used to sit here in this area, which is not ideal. So now it will be much easier to put a plate around the mast. So let's move inside and see what we have done in there. To the right, once you come down into the boat through these stairs, we have a dayhead, a small toilet, which is a feature that we really wanted to have. It's always nice to have a toilet close to when you're standing watch outside, or when you're in the salon here. So this is just...
But this was in the first design as well, but the change
the change now is that the wall here is a bit more straight, so we have a bit more room in here. So we have a small locker, a dry locker that you can put wet clothes in, a toilet, and there will be a small, what do you call that, a small sink to wash your hands. And here on the side you have these steps going down into the engine compartment with light, which are underneath the cockpit.
And that is a watertight bulkhead.
Yes, so there will be a watertight door later on in here. But as you can see, the layout is not ready in there in the dayhead. We might change the position of the toilet, and we haven't figured out yet where to put the sink, so there's still plenty of work to do in there. But
and here you can see the whole deck salon from above. You see the floor space that we have like in the hallway. You have the sofa on port side, or a settee in both language, and on the opposite side is the like a navigation table or / office with a small sofa. And we have raised that whole thing, so when you sit in that sofa, you're still, or I am still able to see outside the windows.
What we're still working on is that we need to have some sort of step on the side here, because as you can see, the distance between the floor and the floor up here is a bit too high, so we need to put some sort of step here. And that's also the case on the other side, coming up into the sofa on the port side. The reason for this, that we can't just raise the floor, is because then we won't have enough headroom
in the deck salon.
In the deck salon, so it's a bit of a give and take here.
It's compromises all the time, and everything affects
something else.
Something else, but we can show a bit more from above, and then you see the open area in front of the settee, an open area going down. So it's very open to the lower compartment where the galley is, and we think that is a super nice feature. It will feel more,
open and airy. Here you can see how it's looking down below now, and obviously it's not finished, the design. We're still working on the galley, the layout of that. This is just a new version that we're working on right now. The sink used to be over here.
It's always good to have the sink as centered as possible in the boat, because if the boat heels over for some reason, it will lower the risk for it taking in water through the hull.
Through the drain.
Through the drain. And this layout makes it a bit more, I think, secure in the galley in front of the stove. You can have some rails to hold on to. Before it was more open, which is nice for floor space, but it's also harder to move when you're sailing.
Yes.
When you're out at sea.
Another thing that we have changed here is that these entrance bulkheads, the doors, are a bit angled now into the guest cabins to gain some floor space in the guest cabins, but also I think it utilizes the area a bit better down here in the galley area.
So on starboard side we have the small guest cabin, and on port side is a bigger one, which will be Vera's room or Vera's cabin.
So here you can see the entrance coming into Vera's room. There will be a queen size bed, I think it's called, or 160 centimeters wide bed, so pretty big. And there will be a lot of lockers in here. You can't really see that now, but the actual hull makes up for a lot of space here on the side. And there will be, of course, also be some portholes, or maybe 1 or 2 portholes in here, and maybe an open porthole in the coaming up here. The ones in the hull will probably be fixed. I don't think it's possible to have the boats CE marked if you don't have them fixed in the hull. So for those of you who have seen the original plans for the boat, this wall was up here. So what we have done now is that the wall is moved a bit aft, making up another space on the other side there, so we can have maybe a washing machine or something like that on the other side. So the box you see at the foot end of the bed here, up against the wall, that's actually from the engine compartment. You can see her on the other side of the wall. We're thinking maybe we need to move the engine a bit more forward, but since we don't really know yet what type of engine and all of that, maybe we'll just have a flat wall here later on. But for now, we have it like this, and then we'll see if we change it later on. Yeah, another thing that we will try to get into Vera's room is a small desk next to the lockers, but we'll see how we'll work that out later on. But maybe somewhere down here.
So now you see the 2 compartments that are furthest aft on the boat. And the first one, the biggest one, is the engine room. It's huge. And there is where we'll have all the things like to run the boat.
Yeah, all technical stuff, and a small workshop as well. All the tools, everything like that will be in this area. And like we said before, it will also be a watertight compartment in there. So these walls here, they will be watertight.
And the compartment behind the engine room is like a huge locker for things, to store things.
Yeah.
We haven't made any changes there, well, except this box that right now goes into Vera's cabin. We'll see if that will remain.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's a bit hard to see here, but this is the starboard guest cabin. You come in through the door that are now angled, and now there is more headroom, like I mentioned before, and also we haven't finished how the layout will be in here.
Yeah, there's no interior yet. No. It's just like the thing on the floor is supposed to be a bed, so it's a smaller bed. It might come up a little bit.
Yeah,
we'll see.
It will come up a bit and maybe moved a bit more to the center of the boat.
But the main things that we've been working on here is to get more headroom and volume in the cabin, like Johan said before. And we managed to do that, so that's great.
Yeah, here you can see the head that we have also made some changes on. It's a bit larger now, the room. We have moved this wall here a bit more to the center of the boat.
The blue thing is the mast,
yeah,
and that is enclosed, so you won't see the mast inside the boat. And then Ulf has built some kind of locker behind that for storage. We'll see if that will remain like that. And through the door in the head, you have the shower. It looks quite spacious now.
Yeah, it's actually a lot larger than it used to be in the previous design. And some more floor space and a bit more floor space also inside the shower here.
In the shower we'll have a bench, so you can sit down. We haven't made any changes to our cabin or the compartment in front of that, where the chain locker is, and it's another storage area. So those were the changes that we've done. We continue to work on the layout, but we just thought that it's pretty nice to give you these little updates in between and the things that we work on and how it's evolving. it will get better and better, and there will just be added more things to the design, which will make it easier to visualize how it would look like when it's done.
Yeah. So the next thing that we will work on the design is the more structural things on the boat. The chain plates, the frames inside the boat, and all of that. So that's something that Ulf has started to work on right now, and we can maybe present something in a few weeks from now.
So in today's video, you get to see us finishing the temporary frame finally, and then get an update on the boat design. So we hope you enjoyed the episode, and we see you again next Friday.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.